Well, West Ham United sit second bottom of the Premier League with just one win out of the opening 8 or 9 games of this Premier League season. It has been a dreadful, woeful start to the campaign for the Hammers, and the reality and the prospect of relegation is really, truly beginning to set in claret and blue. Can it change? Can we recover? And who is to blame? That is what we are going to be discussing on tonight's show. We've let the dust settle after Friday night's defeat away at Leeds, and I have dragged on somebody that was privileged enough to be in that away end on Friday night. Nigel, how are you, mate? Good to see you.
Good to see you, mate. Don't know about privilege, Jake.
There was a slight hint of sarcasm there as I said it, I'll be honest. But yeah, you were there on Friday. It looked, the start was, the first half was awful. What was the mood? I'll ask you first of all, what was the mood when that starting lineup came out? Because I saw it and I slumped back in my chair and thought, seriously, he has done it again. Was it a case of, as we've seen in games before, where we saw the lineup and everyone sort of gave up hope?
What, a bit like that Liverpool quarter final?
Liverpool. That's just what came into my head. Yeah.
Do you know what, Jake? I was really excited about the game. I love Ellen Road. It's one of my favourite grounds to go to. I've got a couple of Leeds fans who I know that lads that I've had a little meet up with before the game. And my mate come down from Newcastle. He's a Newcastle fan, but he really loves Premier League football. And I said to him, do you want to come? And he was like, yeah, he came down, was excited, to see him. And then we got in the ground. I was all upbeat, and then we went into that. There's a little bar on the left-hand side, for the away fans, and we went in there, and someone just randomly said, they swore and said, "Have you seen the team?" And I was like, "No, I haven't seen it, mate. Let's have a look." And he showed me, and I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how can you, literally, there was a couple of tweaks, but I was like, how can you have such a terrible performance and then go away to Ellen Road knowing you're going to get attacked and put that same team out in the same that we'll talk about the formation and the makeup of it in a minute. But I was like, what are you doing?
Absolutely. We're going to have, hopefully it won't get to, but I will warn you now, we will both probably get very annoyed in about 10 minutes time as we get into the nuts and bolts of all of this. But get your thoughts and comments into the chat. We are not going to hold back. I've just done a video where I've been a little bit more calm about it all. That is up on the channel for you to watch now. Unfortunately, I left the ticker of the Premier League round I show on it. So you've got Everton 0, Tottenham 3 going through the bottom of the video. My apologies for that, but I couldn't be asked to make it again. So that's the commitment you get right here on West Ham Official. Some comments. Usual suspect almost sent Birmingham City to the wall. He's doing exactly the same thing with us, not forgetting his toffee toast assistant. We will come on to who is to blame later, but we can all direct blame pretty much in the same place, can't we? We're an embarrassment to football. That is a true statement. Terry, I hope you are well. Thank you for joining us. Phil, hope you're well, mate. I had more confidence with West Ham staying up when Avram Grant was the manager. I've seen the links back to the 2007 season come out today. People have started to bring that up, and the year I was born, Nigel, if that makes you feel a little bit old, when we made the Great Escape in 2007, Carlos Tevez. People have made the link to that, but back then we had Upton Park, we had Carlos Tevez, and we had fighters, and we had dedication in the team. We don't have any of those three at the moment, do we?
No, we don't. And do you know what, Jake? Funny enough, the next day, Una obviously couldn't come because we didn't have a dog sitter, so she was annoyed. She said, "Oh, I missed out again." So I said on the Saturday, I looked at the fixtures. I said, "Do you fancy going to watch Gills?" Because obviously Gillingham's like 20-minute drive, and my local team sort of grew up in the Medway towns. And I said, "Yeah, let's go and watch Gills," because we've been to a few games this season. And going up there and watching Gills is like going back to grassroots football, really. You're right on top of the pitch. You can hear and see everything the players do, and it's refreshing to see the ball being played forward. There's none of this like playing it across the back. They're literally lumping it up to Sam Vokes, who plays up front for Gillingham, believe it or not.
He used to play for Burnley, didn't he?
Yeah, and Wales.
Yeah.
So they're knocking it up to him, or they're knocking the ball through the middle. It's all forward, and when you see people going, they really, you can see than really, really trying hard. And some of these lads, I was looking at the wage structure today, and some of them on like 50 to 100 grand a year. Some of these West Ham guys are on 100 grand a week. And I'm like, when you see the difference and the dedication and the passion, it really does make you think. And I've actually enjoyed watching Gillingham more this season than I've enjoyed watching West Ham, if I'm honest.
And you can see where it's all wrong in the sense of we spend our money to go and watch this, and these players, they couldn't give a crap, right? They couldn't care less. And the amount of, egos, and they think they're better than us, as we sit there and we stand there and we watch this pile of absolute dog go out there, and basically just one step after another take us towards relegation. Right, I'm getting sick and tired of players on 100 grand a week going out there, and I go to we go around the country to all these different grounds and clubs, and all I think is how and why do we do it so wrong? How and why have we managed to cock things up so much to the point where we have got £75 million worth of centre backs there, where I don't think collectively they're worth more than 10 million? They are awful, right? They can't trap a ball, they can't head a ball, they can't command the area. I made a claim on the video that I've just done, Nigel, that I would honestly prefer, and you may laugh, I will honestly prefer us to re-sign Craig Dawson purely for a bit of leadership in this team.
Absolutely.
Because yes, his legs have gone, but so have Tadibo and Kilman's. All we need, we're crying out for a bit of leadership in this team. That's what that sort of player is going to bring. We have nothing of the sort. Nobody is willing to stand up and be counted and vocalise their opinions. Go, you know what? This ain't right, and we need to change it. This ain't good enough. None of them. We're spineless, Nigel.
Well, do you know what? When I first saw Tadibo play, I remember seeing him pick the ball up. He carried it. He looked quite nice. He looked like he was permanent. He looked really good. And then it seemed as soon as he sort of, I'm signing for West Ham, I'm getting what was 30 odd million quid or whatever. He seemed to have he's got worse, and he is now terrible. I was watching him the other day, and mate, I think he thought the stewards played for us. Because like his passing is abysmal.
Yeah.
So it's worse than Lucas. And you know what? When I played football as a kid, or you was playing football in the park with your mates, right? You could pass a ball 10 yards and it'd go to your mate's feet.
Yeah.
When you're on 100 grand a week, you should be able to do that. But he was passing balls. They was like going 2 yards wide of where I was meant to go. And I was like, you're a professional footballer, mate. He's awful.
And week after week, we go to this football and we see these players, and you're right, they cannot do the simple and basic things right. You look at Paqueta. I mean, my mind goes back to that Forest game. I mean, we were very good in those last 50 minutes, but that Forest game, Paqueta was better away from home. But the amount of misplaced passes, not just in that game, but overall for the whole team, you're right, 2 yards wide, or doesn't quite meet him, or is cut off. You look at it and go, how are we getting such simple things so wrong?
Do you know what? You just look at the midfield. I mean, look, no disrespect, because Andy Irving, very nice guy. He ain't good enough to play for West Ham in centre mid. I mean, the guy was it? Was it Pike Thistle he's at?
I think something like that, yeah.
It was a average, mediocre Scottish team. And you're signing a bloke for the centre midfield from that. And then what is Nuno seeing that we're not? And Thomas Souček, right? Love Thomas. Missed a terrible head. It was in had a 50 pence head and put an header wide from yards out. But they're so slow. And I've said this on the shows time and time before. We need some dynamic young players in the middle. And it proved a point. And when them two went off and Freddie Potts and Fernandez came on,
we looked better.
And we then started to look like a football team going forward. And why Nuno has left it more than a game and a half to put those players in, I don't know.
Just to go back to Andy Irving, Andy Irving was the bizarre, one of the bizarre selections that Nuno made both on Monday and Friday, which saw us lose both games. Now, my mind has just gone back to actually when I was stood next to you at Chelsea away back in February or March time, where Andy Irving, I think, started that game, and it was rather comical that all the West Ham fans were doing was singing his name because it was laughable because no one knew where the bloke had come from, and he was half decent at the time, and it was just a funny moment. But it's got past that now. The bloke's not good enough, and we all knew it from minute one. How on earth knew? And it's really concerning to me. And obviously, we'll see how he rectifies it on Sunday against Newcastle. But how we can put Magassa, Potts, and Fernandez on the bench and prioritise Andy Irving, that is ringing significant alarm bells in my brain to me about Nuno. It's just mind blowing and baffling.
So after the game, you saw that I see Nicky, and he pulled me aside. Nicky Hawkins. He said, "Come and do a little interview," and I said it all on there. I said he's playing Scholes, our second he's our second choice left back. He's playing him at right back. He's playing like the other day. Walker Peters, our second placed right back at left back. And he's put Wan-Bissaka at left back, and you're like, so they're playing in wrong positions. Then he's put Irvin and Souček in, who are the slowest in the team in centre midfield, right? And Harrison absolutely murdered. He was running through them at times.
Yeah.
And then to make things worse, there's zero pressure on their back line because you've got no centre forward. So they're basically, they're going to attack us anyway. But they're like, well, I'll tell you what, our fullbacks, our fullbacks will get forward as well because there's nothing to worry about. They've got nothing to hurt us with, and that's exactly what happened. And that first fight, do you know what? I was thinking after them 2 goals went in, this is going to be 5-0, 6-0. We was very, very fortunate to go in at 2-0 down. But I just, like I say, I just don't get it. You've got Callum Wilson sitting on the bench, who's a seasoned pro, who's, is better than nothing, isn't it? If you've got, at least you've got someone to occupy the centre backs. Because let's face it, Lucas Paquetá, he's playing up front. Times are in the first half, he's back on the edge of the box trying to win the ball. And, fair play is trying to run around and win the ball, but you're meant to be playing up the top, mate. Do you know what I mean? But it's no good like playing on the edge of our box because you're just inviting pressure all the time. And this is what we do constantly. And when are we going to learn to actually defend corners? I mean, did you see the header?
Yeah, I mean, it's painful, and especially in a state. I mean, I've noticed it, especially this weekend. Premier League football is going back to 80s style. Long throws and corners is now what's fashionable. I've got no idea why, but it seems like we've gone back in time this season, the Premier League, where corners 5 years ago used to be you only score from corners. That's not very good. But now it's the done thing. If you score from corners, then that's fashionable. We cannot defend them to save our lives. We'll come back. We'll just take some comments, and then we'll pick up on Callum Wilson in just a second. The West Ham Massive, thanks for joining us. I hope you are well. The Great Escape, we had good players. Tevez, Zamora, Green, Ginger Collins, Gabadon, all Warriors. Now all we have are pussies. Yeah, can't go too far on with that. Absolutely right. I'd rather have those mentioned players at their age now than our current squad. We are so poor that other teams don't even waste their energy laughing at us. They just pity us. Our central defenders are totally pathetic, and I would make Kilman play in the under-21s, and even there, he would be outclassed. Graham, thanks for that. Kent, hope you well. Sheffield on a Tuesday, Birmingham on a Saturday, Stratford on a Wednesday. In 2026, it's coming. Away games will be enjoyable apart from the ticket price. We'll be rinsed for away games. There's no cap. I know. I see some of the ticket prices like upwards of 40 quid for an away game. But we're gonna have some. I've got my map there of all the grounds just there. And if we go down, then that's going to be coloured in significantly more by the end of next season with all the new grounds that we're going to visit. But obviously, all joking aside,
to be fair, we spoke about this. Me and Una were speaking about it. Like, I've been to loads and loads of grounds, but Una hasn't been to as many grounds I've been to, obviously.
Yeah.
But I said, if we go down, I think we'd come back up again. However, it will be good to see us start winning games. We'd get a bit more enjoyment out of watching us win games, and we would get to go to some nice old school stadiums again. because it's getting a
The
bit
issue with
boring.
it is that, I mean, I spoke about this with Sean on the Premier League Roundup show last night. My issue with it is that I've got a real deep concern that if we go down, then we'll go down again. You know, we've watched and seen what has happened to Sunderland in the past. It's happened to Luton. We are in a very unstable position as a football club. We don't own the stadium. Our revenue profits are minimal. Our squad will be destroyed. They'll be queuing up to leave, and to be honest, we'll be waving them all goodbye quite easily. We'll have to
Yeah.
completely start again.
Well, because you
You
get
know,
young players, Jake. You got to remember, look at the guys we've got. You know, Preston Fearon and Kante.
yeah,
That guy, he's a beast. He's like a mini Patrick Vieira, that bloke. And if you
yeah,
start bringing some of these lads in and getting them amongst the squad, and I said this the other night, start bringing them in amongst the squad, giving them the odd 5 minutes and stuff like that, getting them in there. I'll tell you what, these lads, they're going to want to play. Look at Freddie Potts, mate. You can
yeah,
see he wants to play for West Ham.
100%. Yeah.
He's through and through claret and blue, and he's like, you know, and he looked decent the other night.
Yeah.
And
And it
you know,
sickens me, and you're right, it sickens me when you've got a player that genuinely cares and wants to do his best for West Ham, and he chucks out Irving and Souček, who, I mean, of course Souček cares, but and chucks out other players. I mean, some of them don't give a crap, to be honest. You know, we can all see that. You know, by the way they act and the way they handle themselves. And when you've got a player there that, quite frankly, doesn't look any, you know, probably looks better than what we've had there, it can't get much worse. If he doesn't start on Sunday, I mean, words fail me. I mean, I'll be there, you'll be there Sunday, and if we see that, and if I'm still with you after the pint that I've bought you, maybe an hour and a bit before kickoff, and we see Souček and Irving in the midfield again, I think I'll literally go home. I think I'll actually get back on the Jubilee line and come back here, because it is. He's got to change it. I just said in my video a 3-point plan of it can't be the same centre back partnership. That was my first point. It can't be Todibo and Kilman again. Something has to change. Bring in that Igor bloke or change it
yeah,
somehow. It cannot be those two again. My second point, Potts has to be in there and we have to bring legs into midfield. And my third point is Wilson needs to start. We need a centre forward up front. If he does all of those three things, then we give ourselves a chance of not being completely embarrassed. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I think. Do you know what? He's got to completely switch things around. He's got to play. He's got to play the players that look like they're going to do something. I mean, like Fernandes. I'd have Fernandes and Potts in the middle.
So
I
would
would.
I.
And
Yeah.
do you know what? Don't Juve actually look terrible as a defender.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
When he
I
was
mean,
bombing up, and
nobody
he did
came
his
out of the game
beautiful
with any
thing.
credibility apart from Potts.
There's
But
times
yeah,
where he could, towards the end, he could have got the ball in 2 or 3 times, and he didn't. He turned back inside and was like, just get the ball in the fucking box. Do you know what I mean? Just get it in the box because, like,
100%. He has
there's
been
like
he has
10
been one of our
seconds
better
left. He's
players.
like, and he's trying to come back. And I'm like, just even if it comes with a defender, you'll get a corner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
instead of that,
He was
coming back,
poor.
I'm like, my God. But he doesn't look, he's a great player going forward, but he does not
Yeah.
look like a good defender at all.
And that is further exposed when we have useless defenders that are there as well. It's all right if we have two solid centre halves there, we could probably get away with it. But when you've got two centre halves that are weaker than Juve defensively, then it's just an absolute nightmare waiting to happen. Does Tadiba have a prosthetic leg? I don't think he's got two functioning legs that are like engaged and synced with his head, to be honest, because the bloke's useless, completely useless. Tadibo, as good as he looked last season, he always looked unfit, and the fact he has a central defender could barely last a full 90 minutes speaks volumes of how unfit and lazy he is. I mean, last season, I don't think he finished a full game. He'd always get subbed off on 60, 70 minutes, and you're like, why and how have we got a defender? Why have we signed him if he can't play a full 90 minutes? I think he runs like he's towing caravans. Irving has had clubs like Rangers, Celtic, and Millwall, Wrexham in for him. There should be a clue as to his actual level. Nice guy, but is out of his depth. I still to this day don't know where we've got Irving from because he came from Austria, but he also came from Scotland. He was on loan at a Scottish team, but we signed him, and it's just baffling. Just baffling where this bloke's come from, and he's just appeared. Like there was no question about it. One day he just appeared, and like everyone's just been like, okay.
I
And
mean,
he's been exposed starting in the West Ham midfield. How, with the amount of money we've spent, how is that guy starting back-to-back games in our midfield, Nigel?
I don't know. There's a lot of being said at the moment. Obviously, when we got, if he was up there, you'd see the same old black balloons and get them out of our club and all that. Right now, you've got to ask yourself a question: who is to blame for all of this? Now you say, "Oh, you can blame." You can't blame David Sullivan and Karen Brady for the way the team's playing. You can't do that because it's the team that are playing. I think that you've actually got to blame. If I was going to blame anyone, I'd blame the recruitment.
100%. Yeah.
Because whoever's recruiting they're the people that need to be sorted out. Who is doing that? Who's in charge of our recruitment now?
But the issue with it is that it's been so many people over the last few years, it's just become a complete mess. I mean, you've segued beyond to what I wanted to talk about. Absolutely. So, who is to blame here? I mean, we can go into this in as much detail as anybody likes. I mean, I think we can all agree. The fact is that Sullivan and Brady, have their faults. Fine, but you cannot sit. I agree, Nigel. You cannot sit here and say Sullivan's at fault for Nuno starting Irving on Monday and Friday consecutively. He's not. Yes, he has done a lot wrong with this football club. Fine, absolutely. But you've got to look at the recruitment. Nigel, over the last 3 years since Moyes left, so still in this squad now, we have a bit of Moyes left. We have Steiden, who had a big part of a lot of it. We've had Potter, we've had Lopetegui, we've had Sullivan have his own say with some signings, Callum Wilson, which doesn't look too bad at the moment. We've got 5 or 6 people that have all had their say on the squad, and it's telling because you look at it and it's a mess, Nigel. It's so many different footballing ideas merged together to make a complete catastrophe of a squad where there's conflicting ideas left, right, and centre. That's where the blame needs to be put.
No, you can't say Callum Wilson ain't a good player, Jake. Callum Wilson has been a fantastic player. He always used to score against us all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
He was good, but do you know what I mean? He can't be any good if he ain't played.
Exactly. I mean, imagine if I'd have told you at the end of August that at the end of October, the only player really, maybe Potts, but the only first team player coming out of the last 3 months with any ounce of credibility is Callum Wilson, because he hasn't got on. He came on, changed the game at Forest, but we haven't seen him since Friday, where he came on and he positively improved us.
When he brought Callum Marshall on, and you saw Callum Wilson just take his boots off on the bench and think, what's going on here? I'm all for getting the youth in, but like not in that situation. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I do think that we've got to start looking at some of the young players. And look, if towards the end of the season it's still looking crap like it is, you ain't got nothing to lose.
Exactly, nothing to lose whatsoever.
There's talk of us having £95 million to spend in the January transfer window.
95 quid. Listen,
I say, who are you going to buy for that? You might get, if you're going to buy a good player, that's going to be £50 million, and that gone straight away, isn't it?
The only, I mean, I would be incredibly surprised if it's anything but loans in January. We're going to try and smash the loan market and the free transfer market to smithereens. I mean, I've lost all faith in the scouting and recruitment process at West Ham. I've got no faith in it whatsoever. So people are holding out for January, and I don't blame them because we've got to hold on to something. They're hoping we can still be in a position in January where it can be turned around. But you look at the games coming up now, Newcastle lost, Burnley's the most. I said on the video a minute ago, that Burnley game in a couple of weeks is the biggest game in the club's recent history since the high-flying Europe days. That
Remember
game,
the last time that we was playing badly and we played Burnley at home?
Yeah, they all ran on the pitch, and it could happen again. It could. I mean, and it could be even worse. Genuinely, I mean, the big mass protest is planned for that day. It could, if it goes badly, that could not touch the sides what we saw back in 2017 at home against Burnley. It could be even worse. And at the end of the day, if we get to January and we're still battling away and we've still got some hope, I've got no faith in us bringing the players that are going to, help us, because there's no evidence to suggest that we're going to do that, because the players we have and the players we've signed have been poor. So why is that all of a sudden going to change?
Yeah, going back to, about responsibility of the club and, us all saying, Brady and Sullivan out. So everyone's so intent on getting them out of the club. And I understand why, I'm sort of half with it, but are they even what are they thinking? Who's going to replace them? Is there any talk of who would buy the club if they was? So we're all right, get rid of them. Then what happens? Then
Yeah.
what happens, Jake? Do you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
said, get them out of the club, right? The club's operating at the moment. It's stable financially, right? So then what happens if you sell the club and then some idiot buys it? Because you know full well that someone who buys it's going to come and go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? That can go sour very, very quickly. Then you could be
I think we can all unanimously agree that, you know, a change is in the best interest of the club, and I think we can all get behind the protests. You know, I do, and hopefully there's volumes of people that take part in the sit-in on Sunday, so we can make our voices heard in that sense. But I do agree with what you're saying. You know, there is no legitimate alternative and buyer out there for West Ham at the moment. So yes, Sullivan needs to go. Yes, his time is up. Yes, I think we could all agree with that. But currently, there is nobody. There's nobody standing. You know, Kretinsky
who's
is a
going who's going to
multi-gazillionaire, but
want to
he
buy
doesn't want to buy the club.
us? Who's going to
Who
want
is
to
going
buy
to want
this?
to buy us? Who wants to buy this mess? Some American who doesn't have a clue. That's
You'll
that's
end up
all.
with a
That's
club
all that we.
bowling.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, we all know that it's sour, and we all know it needs to change. But currently, there is no legitimate alternative that is anywhere in the immediate vicinity. So we all get behind the protests and we all want to see change. But until we see a buyer, until we see, you know, an alternative, then it's just hot air at this point, to be honest. And I just hope that that changes. And first of all, I hope that we get it sorted on the pitch and we stay up first of all. But then we need to look at. I mean, the club needs surgery. It's broken. It's dying. People are leaving. I mean, the mass exodus is damning, Nigel, isn't it? The amount of people that are giving up their season tickets, the amount of people that aren't going to home games and just keeping their season tickets so they can go to the away games. It's it's sour to the point of where, I mean, you went on Friday, and I'm sure you probably questioned on that drive home, thinking, "Why the hell do I do this?"
Dude, I've been doing that for years, Jake, thinking that.
Of
I
course,
get like, you know what really gets you is when you see teams like Leeds and you look at their fans.
yeah.
Never heard an
And you
empty
look at
seat.
their stadium, and you look at their togetherness.
They're proper football fans, mate. Unfortunately for us, we've got a very, very good away following, and we had at the bowling a very, very good home following because you had like probably 35 to 40,000 real proper supporters. But you have to remember, having a big stadium, there's probably 20,000 people there just going to watch a Premier League game. Hmm. What's that, Jake? Someone breaking in.
Don't know. Go
No,
on, carry on.
so 20,000 of those people that are at those games, which are meant to be 62,000, which they ain't because I see empty seats everywhere. They're all tourists. So,
Yeah,
you know, we ain't. It makes a difference having a proper football stadium, and Leeds United have got that, as have Nottingham Forest. When you've got arenas like that to play in, it makes it better for the team.
mm.
And it is the soulless bowl. You know, there is no, you know, it's named that for a reason because it has got like the feel of like a. You feel like when you're in there, you're at like an Oasis gig or something. Do you know what I mean? Or it's like it is. It ain't like a proper football ground. I've got to say that.
No,
Yeah.
no. Right, let's take some more of your comments. Phil says, "Wonder what type of players we will be looking into in January." I mean, I'd be incredibly surprised if it's anything but loans. We're just going to try and hope and pray that some loans that are going to miraculously perform like a Lingard or whatever. But I doubt that. I doubt that highly. Question: is there a cap on how many loans we can acquire in January? I don't know. Um, but we won't be signing too many. We know that there isn't the money there, even with the wages. But I mean, you'd like to think that we're going to sign a few, hopefully. Southampton, again, a club that have been last season relegated from the Premier League and are now staring down the barrel, looking at the foot of the Championship and staring down the barrel of League One. It's a vicious spiral. That clubs enter. But there we go. Play Magasser at centre back. Play anybody at centre back over Kilman and Taniba
Play
at this
me at
point, I
centre
say.
back.
Yeah, yeah. And then if we'd have kept hold of Edson Alvarez, we could have played him at centre back. But no, we let him go out on loan with no financial reward for us, with no recall.
I'd rather him go around kicking everyone and getting yellow cards every week, kicking everyone up there with a bit of balls about him and a bit of backbone than some of what we've got going on at the moment.
For sure, for sure. JC buying Nigel Pint. Oh, I need documented proof. It's happened before. It's happened before. Have I still got this picture? I mean, look, it's happened before. There's this pint. All right.
See how long ago it was? Look how short my moustache is. Oh, listen, out of interest is to make you laugh this. So whoever's watching, and you, Jake, you've got to watch that. Although you've watched that West Ham TV interview at Leeds, I did. Have you read the comments? Have you read the comments?
I haven't. No. Oh, is there some funny ones?
Read the comments, mate. My daughter messaged me yesterday. Dad, I was watching your interview the other day on with Nicky Hawkins on West Ham TV. She said, "Have you seen the comments?" I started going through the comments, Jake. Jake, I was crying with laughter, mate.
Really?
I'm getting rinsed. Oh, mate, you just got to look at them, mate. The comments are worth looking at, just better than the interview. It's so funny. So
here we go. That man's moustache has more character than the entire team combined.
Some of them are like unbelievably funny.
Oh dear, yeah, they are. I'm gonna have a little peruse through that a little bit later on. A team lineup. Here we go. Areola, Wan-Bissaka, Magassa, Kilman, Bowen, Somerville, Wilson, Walker, Peters, Potts, Fernandez, Paqueta. Yeah, I'd get Wilson in there. I get Potts in there. I get a change in with the centre halves. It's got to happen in some way, and I think that will encourage people if we, if we change it and we admit that it was wrong and that we, have a bit of active change in that sense.
He's got no protection. He's a really good little player, but gets no protection. He's out on his own, but he's a ballsy little character, and he wants to win, and he runs at players. That's what I like about him is he runs at players. We've had some players in the past that can do that. That's a Pyatt used to do it, didn't he? Back in the day, for your days, I've got a mate, Stuart Slater used to play for us. He used to do it. He was young and used to run at defenders, and that's what we need, because it's pace. It scares people, and he's got it all. Somerville, and he just needs a bit of protection. That's all, because he was getting pushed around all over the place. Do you know what I mean? The other day and barged on. Leeds were just giving it to him, and no one went and sort of stuck it on them. Do you know what I mean? I was kicking lumps out of him, mate.
Yeah. We got Irving from Austria Klagenfurt and loaned him back to them, and he was at Hearts before he was at Munich, not Bayern. Turku, yeah. He's been around the block, but heaven knows who scouted him or where we picked him up from.
They should have the dog and duck on there as well. He probably played for them.
Kent says we have no philosophy and infrastructure that works. We have spent loads of money over the past 5 years, but we haven't bought the right players. You don't have to spend loads, exactly, and we've just chucked money down the drain. I said on the show last night, if you just want an example of how bad the recruitment's been, Fulkrug, Guilherme, now my mind's gone blank. All of these players, Kilman, Todibo, all these players have cost a ridiculous. Even those 4 players are upwards of £100 million.
Kilman's hit and miss. I've seen him do some amazing. I've seen him make some amazing challenges and carry the ball out, and he looks good at times. But he's so inconsistent. There's a good footballer in there, but he's not. But he's far too inconsistent. Todibo is just taking the money. Mavropanos. Even though people like people saying I'll get Mav in the team now. It wasn't that long ago they wanted him out of the club. But then we're that bad.
Currently, he looks like the best centre half in the whole team, which is in the squad, which is painful, to be honest, isn't it?
Like Charlie Cresswell, we should have bought him. I'll tell you what, right? Where is he? Toulouse? I think he was playing for Leeds when we played a few seasons ago, and he looked brilliant at centre back. He won everything in the air, and he just looked a really accomplished player. And he was up for grabs. We should be surely. The recruitment, at West Ham would have looked at these players that have blinders against us, look at them and think, do you know what, they ain't a bad player. But we never seem to do that. I was really chuffed when we signed Fernandez, because I'd watched him play against us and he looked a decent player. And he is a very good player. But again, he needs someone alongside him to be the bully. Do you know what I mean? He needs the bullying, and I think Potts could be the bully. Potts is strong, good. Do you know
We
what
need
I
to
mean? Good.
utilise him. Why don't we utilise him? I mean, he's got. I mean, listen, he may well come into the midfield on Sunday against Newcastle. He may get bullied, but look at what he's got around him. I mean, he would literally be doing it all on his own, and he may come out of it with credibility, which wouldn't surprise us all. But he has to try something different because he's established that his initial first plan of Irving and Souček fantasy in midfield does not work. He's tried it for 2 games and it has failed miserably. And even we saw the contrast on Friday because, as you said earlier, Nigel, when the other players came on, Fernandes and Potts, we did a million times better. So if he goes back to Souček and Irving, then he's lost the plot. There's no saving it.
Maybe he's thinking to himself, "Oh, easy, I'll get sacked here and walk away with good money."
A nice payoff. Maybe that's what he wants. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he's
Because
looked
I
at,
mean, it gets to the point where you think,
looked
is
at
that
how
really
rotten it
what's
is.
happening?
He's looked at how rotten it is from the inside and thought, "I don't want nothing to
Yeah.
do with it."
Sod this. I'll get my payout and run. Like, bad team selection, 100%. I mean, yeah, that Kante's just on a 6-year deal. That should free up money for a centre forward. They need to spend now, 100%. Not playing Wilson for 3 games and down 2-0, we look better. And when we had a striker, someone get our manager and players to watch this. They'd learn a few things, wouldn't they? You know, we're not afraid to say it how it is. And these, you know, they live in a bubble and cuckoo land,
Look,
and
we've
everything's
got
going to
as
be
much.
okay.
Look, we've got as much. You know, our opinion matters. I mean, we pay lots of money to go and watch these lot. We ain't stupid.
Yeah,
We can see what's going on the pitch just like they can. I mean,
yeah,
surely they ain't blind to the fact that some of them players are shit. They can see that, can't they?
yeah,
Surely Nuno can see that. If there's
yeah.
3,500 for Leeds going, you ain't fit to wear the shirt, there's a reason for that. Surely Nuno's on the pitch. What's he going to do? Coming at half time, go, "Oh, don't worry, lads." Seeing pictures of
That
him
would be right. You know, we can
hand and
improve a
shoulder
bit.
some of the players.
Yeah.
It's
I
ridiculous,
mean,
mate.
it must be the most excruciating thing to hear as a player, you know, whether you're giving it your all or not, to hear your away contingent, your supporters that have travelled a hell of a long way on a Friday night, to stand there and sing and bellow, "You're not fit to wear the shirt." Surely that should send shivers up your shine and
Surely you'd
spine.
think to yourself, "I'll show them."
Yeah, exactly. You know, and we're entitled to our frustration because of the crap we've had to watch. But with all of those coming out, you know, and singing "We're effing not very good" and "You're not fit to wear the shirt," and surely if you're a competitive and good and, you know, player that wants to spur yourself on, you want to go, "You know what? I'm going to prove it to them. You know what? I'm better than that. I'm going to improve." But no, they're spineless. They're feeble. They're weak. We are mentally weak as a team, and we fold under the slightest bit of pressure, and that's where the big and main predominant issue is for West Ham at the moment. You're not fit to wear the shirt. They laugh at it. Don't bother them. They're still collecting their £100 a week. We all still go back to work next Monday. You know, don't bother them. They live in this fantasy land of football where they can turn out. It's brilliant, isn't it, Nigel? Imagine if you went to your job, you were absolutely woeful, and you got paid £100 a week. I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Well, I do go to my job, and some of my work is quite woeful, but I still get paid
You're not
for it.
supposed to admit that. Honestly,
No,
you just floored my whole argument live on
no,
YouTube. There we are.
you're right. I mean, there's got to be some sort of pride. Do you know what I mean? There
You'd
ain't no
think
pride.
so, wouldn't you?
Potts,
Yeah,
Potts was the only one when he came over. He got clapped.
yeah,
Potts got clapped when he come over.
yeah. Good,
I don't think
absolutely.
anyone's going on about Scholes. You know, one of our. I don't think he's up to it, Jake. I really don't think he's up to it, Scholes.
No,
Uh,
he's just
he's
falling
not.
short, isn't he?
I watched when we watched Gills the other day. There was a left back for Salford. I played Salford City. Mate, he was mustard. He was
Mm.
fast. He was getting down the line. He was tackling, putting challenges. And I thought, that's what we need. Someone like that. Do you know what I mean? Someone with some balls and someone who's going to get his head down and, you know, he's getting forward. He's getting back up and down the pitch. Only a young fella, but I was like, we need a player like that. Juff, great going forward. But I've noticed again, he's only good going forward. And we're not putting him in the positions to showcase his skills, because when Ariola gets the ball, he don't throw it straight out. He don't throw that long one out. He bombs forward a lot. You watch him. He bombs
He
forward,
runs him and then stops.
and then yeah, but Juff runs forward straight away.
Yeah.
No one looks for him. And then so he don't get the ball and he comes back and then he's on his back foot because he's got to run back to defend and he's shit at defending.
Juve will bomb forward if Areola retrieves the ball. Areola will run towards the edge of the box. He'll stop. He'll look to Juve and go, "Nah, sod that," and then he'll just lump it up to Paqueta, who can't win a header every time.
Exactly.
Every time.
He was hoovering it up the other day. 3 headers all the time. Just keep putting it down the pitch.
And it's just basically kicking it back.
If Juve does get forward, you ain't got centre forward.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, from goal kicks and from, when he gets the ball and, kicks it out, it's just basically telling the opposition, there you go, you can have it back. Like, every time, because we never win a header because there's no one up there.
Mate. He's kicking.
It's awful, isn't it? Yeah. It is awful.
There must be someone in the crowd putting their hand up and they're saying if you could hit his hand in the crowd, we'll give you 100 quid every time.
100 quid. Yeah, we need a striker. We do indeed. The football needs to bring that atmosphere in the stadium. You need to play a front four, something to just get the fans a little bit more encouraged and engaged in what they're watching. I'd play Magassa as maybe in that number 6 role and then let the other players maybe push forward a bit more. I gave you documented proof. I bought Nigel a pint. I'll buy him. Listen, Mike's going to be there. Gary's going to be there on Sunday. So, Nigel, as long as you get there before the pints go up in price, then I'll buy you one. Because they're £4.50 before.
Where are you going to the podium?
No, I'll go into. Usually I'll go to the cow or the bat and ball at the top, and then I go in the ground. I don't normally go to the podium thing down the bottom. Do you go in there?
I've been there. I used to go to Carpenter's quite a lot, but I only go in there like once every 4 games now. I do go to the podium. Got a few mates in that, but I've started having a look down at Hackney. There's a couple of nice little bars down there that I've started to frequent.
There's some good bars down there, yeah.
Yeah, there is Hackney, but it's quite good.
Yeah. So. Anyway, the special one, you're letting Magassa get used to the league for sure and giving Potts minutes. I mean, that's productive, and that's what we all want to see. Maybe have Fernandez and Paqueta on either side. Just try it, because it can't be worse than what we've had there. I mean, James Ward-Prowse has been basically exterminated, off the face of the earth. He's just been booted out. We haven't seen him since Nuno's come in. And I mean, I'm not Ward-Prowse's biggest fan by any stretch of the imagination, but he's better than Irving.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. At least, look, Ward-Prowse has got a couple of things in his locker. He's got good set pieces. He can deliver a ball pretty well. Irving can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what Irving brings to the team whatsoever. He brings nothing. He can't. Yeah. He don't get in positions to score. He can't defend very well. He's very basic. He's very beige, and he's like the invisible man in the midfield. Do you know what I mean? If you didn't know he was playing, you wouldn't know. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't even know he's in the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of us would play James Ward-Prowse before Irving. I would, for sure. The recruitment is crap. It most certainly is. Mark says Potts, Fernandez, and Paqueta for sure in midfield.
Maybe Magassa, like you said, Magassa's defensive midfielder with Paqueta, Potts. Potts and Fernandez in the middle with Paqueta wandering around doing what he wants to do as usual.
But then a big question to ask is that should and will Nuno have the balls to drop Paqueta? Because Paqueta has been awful. I mean, everyone's been awful. He was a bit better against Leeds, Paqueta. That rhymes. But when was the last time, Nigel, you walked away from a game for a full 90 minutes and went, you know what, Paqueta bossed that? Can't, can you?
Not even doing it. Ever.
No. Ever.
I'll tell you what, he does. The trouble is, right, people, when you see him on TV, people only show a few highlights. So if he does something good in the game, people go, "Oh, Paqueta, what a player!" Yeah. See that little back heel flick he done, and he does do some exciting stuff. But the 10 times that he gives the ball away in the game, do you know what I mean? They don't show you that.
No, so exactly, and it's silly stuff when he gives it away. Like, I mean, we were talking about the passes at the top of the show, the amount of misplaced passes that he just. I mean, it's lazy above all else because he's better.
It reminds me of the team that got relegated when you had like Cole and Lampard, and Michael Carrick and all that in it. Joe Cole's flicks got us relegated on 40 points. Things like that. That team is very similar. It was full of very talented individuals that couldn't play together as a team.
Weren't a team. No, 100%. And even everyone, things will turn for the better. I do hope you're right. It would help if he played in position in terms of the fullbacks, absolutely. But left back is something I would look at in January, along with about 5 centre halves and a striker and 3 midfielders and a goalkeeper and basically everywhere. But yeah,
You literally
Graham
got to
says
play. You literally got to play.
you can certainly lay this at the door of Sullivan as he trusts nobody with his money, and so he gets involved in signing players. He's an old man with no football nous, and he should take a back seat. I think Sullivan signed Wilson, which, to be honest, is only one of the very few signings that looks practically okay at this point. But I agree in the sense that they've got to have a plan going into January. They should have a plan established now. Is that Sullivan shouldn't be making these decisions. Sullivan should have his team of recruitment, or maybe, to be fair, could you blame Sullivan if he's lost patience in his recruitment team because they have been woeful? So maybe he's just going to do it all himself.
Well, his son
That's
used to run the women's team, didn't he? He used to pick the women's team, wasn't it? For
yeah,
Jack. And
yeah,
I've been sitting in corporate and heard him talking about the team and stuff like that. So perhaps he hasn't saying it, to his dad or whatever. He thinks this and that, but which is fair enough if they own the club, but you've got to leave it to the manager, ain't you?
yeah, for sure. Is Paqueta our top goal scorer? I mean, that could only be 2 goals, surely, because we haven't scored many goals this season. That's not right. But have we had a? Oh yeah, because he scored a penalty at Forest, and he scored against Chelsea, didn't he? So we scored 2. Yeah, so we
Bowen's got two, hasn't
probably
he?
who else?
Bowen.
Who who's Bowen? Oh yeah, Bowen scored against Forest. Who else did Bowen score against? Palace? Did he score against Palace? I don't know. He's up there, Paqueta, though, but I mean, that's not hard. Paqueta's been playing up front and he ain't a striker. I agree. Yeah, no, I do agree with that. He's not been, again, another player not playing in a natural position, square pegs, round holes, Nigel.
All the while he's got a hole in his backside, he'd never be a striker.
Exactly,
Never.
exactly.
He's
Somerville,
just
Wilson, Bowen, and Paqueta are attacking 4. There we go. That's it.
Somerville's a great little attacking player. We need to utilise him more. We need to put him on the ball more. We need to put him out into space and feed him the ball on the floor inside the back because he can skin people. He literally, when he
Yeah.
runs at people, he's so dangerous. He's
But
probably
you've
our
got
most.
nothing around him.
Him and
That's
Jared are very similar.
yeah,
And that
100%.
scares
But
me.
the thing is, we make the pitch look so big because we have either nobody or somebody up front, but they're 30 yards away from Somerville and Bowen, who are very good players, but they're isolated. That front three is so isolated because nobody gets near them. And it gets to the point where Somerville gets the ball, he runs forward, he's got to turn back, there's nowhere to go. Bowen's the same. We lump the ball up, nobody gets it. There's no cohesion and sort of gameplay between them going forward because nobody in midfield is connecting up with the forward players, and the forward players are so far apart. They're basically in different postcodes, so we're not doing quick passes here and there, and we're not linking up with each other. That's what we need to get back because
Someone
we've
like
currently
Chris
got
Wood would do us a solid because he's a big.
yeah.
He gets inputs. And
I've
to
got an
his,
outlet. Yeah.
Antonio again. He's a big muscular bloke who used to bully people, and they used to have to mark him. Do you know what I mean? This is the thing. So he'd get marked. At the moment, it's so easy for defences to deal with us because they've got nothing to
100%.
deal with.
Yeah.
They must be rubbing their hands when they see the team sheet and go, they ain't got centre forward. So both centre backs are thinking, they're saying to each other, who's going forward now? I'll go on. I'll have
Nobody.
him. That's what it's like because there's
Yeah.
no pressure on them. The pressure is always on our team.
Yeah, yeah, because we never get a minute off because we don't press as a team. We don't. Everybody else, the other 19 teams in this league, they press and they
We press
put
for 5
pressure.
minutes.
Yeah, they put pressure on our centre halves, and then they've got to hoof it up to nobody. But us, we're quite happy for the centre backs to play it around the back and then build up nicely because we've got no urgency in the team because it's not cohesive together. It's a mess. Listen, we will wrap it up there, but we will do our match preview for the Newcastle game as that game comes closer, maybe Friday or Saturday. We will do that and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about Newcastle and how we can match up and try and get something off of them on Sunday. But Nigel, a final thought for where we are as a club at the moment?
In trouble.
It's a fair and concise assessment of the football club. Thank you very much, everybody, for their input in the chat tonight. It makes it a lot better when we can have a little bit of an interactive chat. So thank you for everybody participating and has watched us tonight. Nigel, thank you very much for joining me as always.
Cheers, Jake.
Thank you very much. And from us, come on, you Lions, and we are going to treat ourselves to yet another West Ham joyous display on Sunday against Newcastle. Content to come before then, so check it out right here on West Ham Unofficial. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.